Here I am, a Canadian musician with a degree in classical music. For so many years I've been haunted by this mystery. Why does the rhythm of a land so distant penetrate so deeply into my soul? Bach and Bartok were my idols. Then, one day I heard an incredibly hypnotic sound coming from a Toronto club. Inside was the Brazilian band Sombra e Água Fresca, Shade and Fresh Water. They were playing something magical. I discovered then what is called pagode, a samba session with people gathered at a table. They were laughing and singing in a language that I didn't understand. My newfound friends helped open a part of me that had desperately needed nourishing. I'll never forget that first rehearsal. So many drums, so much sound, so strong and powerful. I was hooked. All I wanted to do was to get in there and play. To me, the analogy of a tree is really appropriate to samba. The roots, formed from the first escology samba early in the 20th century, are firmly footed in the Brazilian cultural soil. Today, the trunks are escolas like this, Grande Rio, a gargantuan group with as many as 300 drummers propelling Carnaval into the 21st century. In Toronto, we are the buds at the end of the branches. We draw from the trunk and the roots while reaching upward to grow. You feel like, okay, here I go, but you gotta wait. I go, boom.
Anybody could hear the difference between a shika 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 and a chaka 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 chaka. And I prefer the shika shika over the chaka chaka.
Boom, cha, boom, cha, boom, boom, cha.
Just kind of start with a bunch of things, walk around, come back, sit around, wait for some more, come back, sit around, wait for some more, deliver them, come back. There's some people in the group who probably never would have imagined that they had any musical talent. This is just proof that, anyone can make music. Everyone is musical. And if you don't think you are, then you can be. These days I'm happy with about 20 deliveries, 25. I get paid on commissions, so you make money by walking around. So I'm going to go down here to the 11th floor. Sometimes I think, oh my, where are things going? I don't really have a proper career. I graduated from university. I'm not doing anything with my degree. I'm not making the kind of money that I could be making. What the hell? I have a great life, I listen to, all I think I really need to be very happy is to make enough money to not be worried about money, to have great company, good food, and good music.
O samba é uma filosofia. O samba é uma forma de viver. Você muda a sua maneira de viver quando você convive com o samba.
Beth Carvalho is definitely part of the samba trunk. She's like the Joni Mitchell of samba. She opened her home and her heart to me when she heard that a stranger from the land of snowy mountains had formed a bateria, the heartbeat of samba.
Uma
O nome de mulher é tão sagrado. Mulher é nome pra ser respeitado. A cobra não morde uma mulher gestante, porque respeita seu estado interessante. E ele te ensina a viver, a dar a volta por cima, a ter a alegria como resistência, a não ter medo de nada.
I defy anybody to play samba and not feel happy. There's Diane, she's in the group. She was so overtaken when she saw us in one of her performances that she came up to us. She said, "How do you join the group?"
I went to hear a kind of a techno band play, and the Scuola de Samba was playing in between sets. And I heard this amazing music. Just drew me there, and I went and I watched these people perform, and I was just totally mesmerized. And I said to my friend that I was with, I was actually taking her out for her 50th birthday that night, and I said, I think it's my life's goal to join this band. And I told them how I would really love to join this band, having had no experience in anything like that. And they said, okay, come on back, we'll introduce you to our leader. So they take me backstage, and he said to me, oh, you seem like a woman with a lot of energy. I had to make a big change when my life changed. When you're in a long-term partnership, relationship, there's a lot of compromise, and when you're alone, you get to rediscover yourself again, and that's fantastic. I really feel thankful that I had the opportunity to do that at this age. And I'm fortunate to have my children still with me, but I have all this time, I have this opportunity to renew my life in a way. Go, man. You can't do when you're in a partnership. You just can't do it. It's like, so somebody gave me a clean slate. Oh, okay, it was terrible to have the rest of it blown away. Yes. But then I have this clean slate. And, well, what next? It's a marvelous position to be in. Ah, once again. I've never been in a group before, ever. And this is my first experience as being part of a people that rely on each other, depend on each other, work with each other. And when I start to play that music and I hear that rhythm and I hear everybody working together, it's uplifting, and it puts me in another place. Heavenward or something, I don't know, but it puts me in another place. And then when I start to do what I do, after a few minutes, my body just feels this rush. It's like an endorphin rush. It's fantastic.
Rio de Janeiro is a city of beauty and also overwhelming poverty. It is in the lives of the urban poor that samba's rhythm takes root, flowering in an escape from pain and a refuge from sadness.
O samba é a crônica do dia a dia de um povo. Ele tem esse papel. Você pode contar a história do Brasil através do samba. Quem faz o samba, na sua maioria, é compositor, como eu já disse, oriundo de favela. São pessoas mais pobres, as pessoas do samba, em geral. O samba tem um lado tristíssimo, mas o ritmo e a forma de cantar é forte. É a resistência. Por mais triste que seja, tem uma garra, tem um poder de transformar tudo.
One of the greatest aspects of our bateria, and one that closely follows the Brazilian model, is the fact that many of the members are not professional musicians. Having said that, I find their dedication and enthusiasm often exceeds that of many professionals. Their love of learning and growing as a community always inspired us collectively. The Zen concept of beginner's mind is personified by the collective personality of our Escolages Samba.
In an 8-hour day, we'll do 4 round trips. Each trip is approximately 57 minutes. There is a certain amount of stress because we have the problem with jumpers or suicides. And that's always present in the back of your mind whenever you're pulling into a station, you know, at fairly high speeds. The other stress is obviously getting up so early in the morning and spending basically 12-hour days, you know, on the job. You know, actually, when I'm on the train, while I'm guarding, you know, I'll be practicing in my hands the turns and things, and that's how I practice. I like to drive with the door open. Many a times I've heard a lot of people's problems. Here, you don't have to say anything. You know, you just listen. People appreciate it too sometimes. Sometimes they're having a bad day and they need somebody to talk to, but they don't want to go home and talk to the person they're having a bad day with. So I think it helps that they're able to talk to somebody else. Not that I want to be a social worker, but and then there are times that you hear so many bad problems. You wish that, you know, you weren't so, you know, so friendly. But you have to take the good with the bad, and they go away. Thank you, driver. You've been a great help. You know, a lot of times you don't say very much. They just want somebody to talk to. Somebody that will listen to them, I should say.
It's just an unbelievable positive contribution to my psyche. When I was a kid doing this in the drum corps, it was fun. I mean, I lived for nothing else. It consumed my life, you know, 5 to 7 days a week. If we weren't drumming, we were thinking about drumming. If we weren't drumming, we were having parties planning about drumming. Now that I'm back into it, I realize how good it is to do and how good it is for me. So that's the front design red and then front design white. I couldn't wait for those Sunday practices because just how good you felt after you came out of practice. And I remember even walking into work on Monday mornings and feeling unbelievably refreshed and together, you know, just feeling really good and positive. You know, I walk in here and I see people dragging their asses into work on a Monday morning with a coffee in their hand and, you know, Monday morning, and I just remember saying to myself, you know, I don't feel that way. A real noticeable difference that once I started drumming again, how good it made me feel and how valuable it was to me. I often, you know, coin it, or the best way I can coin it is it's a good soul food.
I like painting, but it's not really what I'm most interested in. These ones are mostly all variations on the very same image, which is a certain location in Quebec City. It was the site of a lot of the conflict that happened during the summit meeting there. Middle-aged working folk who may have had a problem with something and decided to come out to voice their opinion, show themselves there, realized how much of a police state it really is, or how horrible that they can actually be to us. I think that the overall idea that we have, even just government, is pretty strange. When I was 7, I moved to Toronto, moving from a small town to a big city. Just my father, a single parent. That developed into sort of a troubled teenagehood that just needed a focus for the frustration.
Jason's my son, so like any family, he's nearest and dearest to my heart. It shows the front of the shirt. I didn't have the same understanding for politics. I certainly didn't have a passion for politics like he does. I didn't really have time to think about it because his mother became pregnant when I was very young, and so my whole life was making sure that he was cared for, and really all I had time to do was get off my ass and work and care for him and bring him up and be able to put a roof over his head. So I was really consumed with that. Hi, Karen. I manage the studio segment of the Ogilvy Mather advertising. The studio is about 35 people here. Consists of 2 shifts. Hammer, Dusser. My job is basically just that, to manage the studio.
Certainly couldn't do advertising. It's just about the worst. I can't think of an industry that is more harmful. It's so pervasive. There's nothing that gets at you more than advertising. And what is it doing? It's like promoting unnecessary consumer items that end up either polluting or oppressing workers in third world countries.
I don't know. I guess I have a bit of a yin and a yang on this one, but I mean, it would be nice if if his success, I mean, could be termed in monetary values without him infringing upon what his beliefs are. So that's the back of the shirt with the battery and the tutu bang. I had Jason when I was young, and so for that reason we're pretty close in the sense that there's not a huge generation gap between us. I guess the fact that we've met on this level and do this together is a real bonus.
I knew nothing about samba until I met Alan through friends of mine at work. They brought me to see a concert, and I was kind of blown away by the beat and how compelling it was. You can't just sit there. Your whole body kind of gets, it's almost like you're surfing or something. Your body just gets swept up in the power of the rhythm. And so I really dug it in a big way. So we just did an appeal at the Ontario Court of Appeal. It was about a guy who went and robbed a convenience store in Ottawa in December of 1999 with 2 cohorts. They went in at 3 o'clock in the morning with a knife and a crowbar and held up the clerk and robbed the place. It's sort of antithetical to our role to care whether we win or lose, but that's not really. In reality, especially if you invest a lot of time in the case and you believe in the case. If the court doesn't find in your favor and you lose the case, it's disappointing. The court dismissed the appeal, luckily, and found that the trial judge didn't commit any errors and that the sentence of 6 years in the penitentiary was fit. In theory, you're supposed to be Minister of Justice and you're supposed to be always doing what's fair, but I don't always feel that I am, and so there's times that if I had it my way, I would just keep throwing in the towel and I would be letting a person walk, because I don't think that they should be part of the criminal justice system, but the law says that they are. When I'm playing music, I'm very rarely thinking about the law. I'm not a lawyer at that time, so it's like being able to step out of that personality altogether, so it's kind of an escape. Sometimes I'm a lawyer with a hobby, and sometimes I'm a musician with a day job. I just have a sense of closeness and belonging with my musical friends that I would never have with a group of lawyers in a million years.
There are thousands of Brazilians in Toronto, and thousands more who travel back and forth between the hemispheres. These travelers pollinate our Canadian samba with the true essence of the music, like Menino, who lives and breathes samba.
Eu pensei, por que não aproveitar um pouquinho de tempo aqui no exterior e pegar informações, espalhar o que eu sei, pelo menos tentar, sabe? O primeiro aniversário foi muito diferente porque longe da família, mas perto de grandes amigos. Isso para mim me enche de alegria. Estou muito contente, feliz, muito como uma criança num parque. É exatamente assim que eu me sinto. Sou um pouco uma pessoa que eu sou tímido para falar. Eu não sei falar inglês ainda. Eu tento, eu erro muito. E algumas pessoas na bateria até me entendem, me ouvem e tentam aprender português também. E a gente acaba se entendendo de uma maneira difícil. É difícil você chegar num país e não falar a língua. O Dilon foi ainda, né? Vai ser sempre para mim um guru. Foi ele que começou comigo, mas ele me levava para as escolas de samba e só me ensinava o caminho das pedras. Queria que essas pessoas me conhecessem como um ritmista, não como um sobrinho do mestre. Então eu sempre, quando tinha que falar alguma coisa com ele, eu chamava Odilon, nunca chamei de ti. Mas ele foi uma pessoa que me projetou para esse mundo onde eu tô, sabe?
Mas ele sempre faz falta, né? Porque ele é um bom ritmista, né? Ele toca bem, tem facilidade de pegar as convenções, de criar também. Tá fazendo uma grande falta pra gente, né? Mas eu que sou tio dele, tô cheio de saudade dele também, né?
No dia que a Grande Rio estava desfilando, eu liguei para ele momentos antes, né? Liguei aqui do Canadá, liguei umas 3 ou 4 horas antes do desfile e falei para desejar boa sorte para ele e tal. E ele virou para mim e disse que minha fantasia estava dentro do caminhão, guardada dos instrumentos. Aí eu fiquei sensibilizado com isso e tal.
You don't like to cry.
Pretty soon you'll find that changes as you cling to a fellow hand. I have a September 11th song. I think probably every songwriter in the world has a September 11th song. I have a song for my dad called Tunnel Lake. I have a song for my grandmother that's kind of in the making about being in a nursing home. I have a song called I Don't Understand Why Men Don't Like Me. Everything changes with a flash in the sky. Kissing the wife goodbye. Manino's here. Everybody, this is Manino. David? Susan, you know. Manino's done some percussion for a number of my songs. He says he likes them. He doesn't know what I mean, but he says he likes them. Everything changes in the blink of an eye. He's played the hand drums to some of my stuff before, but nobody here, I think, has had any exposure to Brazilian music, so we'll be sticking with our repertoire, and he'll just be throwing in some. He's so, I mean, he can play percussion to anything. He's amazing, so he's going, but he likes, like he loves Joni Mitchell.
Quem é o Johnny Mitchell?
Musicista do Canadá.
Hã?
Ela é uma musicista canadense.
É uma mulher?
Famoso no mundo, né? E o Maninho pirou.
Johnny Mitchell? Ah, no momento não, que eu tô com a cabeça quente, mas... Johnny Mitchell.
The paper and I and put the parking lot.
Acredito, se ele passou alguma coisa, tá com cheiro de Rio de Janeiro.
People coming here, they're pretty stressed out. Not too many people are really looking forward to being in the dental chair, so there's a lot of anxiety associated with a dental appointment. Like I really like listening to lots of Brazilian music, so I like to play it when I'm working. It helps me get through the day. I'll play Brazilian music and a patient will say, "What is that?" And I'm broadening their musical horizons. Every break, you can hum still with your mouth open. If I ever get Brazilian people in here, they start singing along.
Amor de longe, benzinho, é favor não me querer, benzinho. Dinheiro eu não tenho, benzinho, mas carinho eu sei fazer até demais.
Fui de viagem, passei em Barreiro, fui de viagem, passei em Barreiro. Avisa meus companheiros, sou eu, Manel de Isaías. Na ida levei tristeza, na volta trouxe alegria. Passei pela quinta-feira, Mané me deu uma carreira que até hoje vou rir.
Rosangela headed for Canada in search of a better future for her sons. Alone in a cold place, she found her Brazilian heart with us.
Imaginava canadense, pessoas assim loiras de olhos azuis. Eu nunca imaginei que em Toronto houvessem pessoas de toda parte do mundo. Não tinha a menor ideia. Eu pensava em vir e ver como é que ia ser, né? Me falavam que às vezes eram pessoas frias, mas não sei, tenho constatado que são pessoas educadas, tem uma opção de coisa legal.
Tu não vais como um passarinho que fez o ninho criar.
Mas nunca me apresentei como tenho feito aqui no Canadá, né, para as pessoas, com o público e, sabe, às vezes muita gente, um público grande. Tem sido uma experiência nova. Quero, né, poder concretizar esse trabalho, porque é um sonho já da minha vida, desde criança, e a oportunidade, né, veio surgir aqui no Canadá.
Eu vim lhe conhecer. Samba, santabarense, pra gente aprender, pra gente aprender.
For me, it's just great to be able to learn about the music. That was my interest in going in the first place. So it's a great opportunity to do that, you know, and yeah, it's not many chances that you have to learn something like that. And it's a great group of people. And that's how I met Hine.
I don't care where samba school goes. The reason I'm there is to meet friends. And I am able to play songs from Brazil. So I always have in touch with the music.
Yeah. No, you told me you always you met your girlfriends always through music.
Yeah, yeah, music was
very important in his life.
Yeah, in my life.
You went on a date over to the island.
Yeah.
We made a real date. Yeah.
Then that day.
That was about a month later. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty difficult to speak English for hours, and I had a headache.
My ex-wife, who is from Brazil. Believe it or not, I met her while I was working. She didn't speak any English at all. So it was pretty funny in the beginning. People used to say to me, when they met her, how do you guys communicate? That's the first question. But I guess it's that love thing. If you're in love, you find a way.
What greater thing is there for two human souls than to feel we are joined together?
So we decided to get married, and I knew I wanted to have the samba group, whoever could make it. And Alan said he could do it, he could be there. And we had enough people, because I thought we just have to have that, you know, at the wedding. So I checked with the lady at the counter, and I said, now, you know, we'd like to have some live music, is that all right? And she said, oh dear, that's fine. You know, we've had a bagpipe here. And I said, well, that's good, but I think this is going to be a bit louder.
As a painter, I'm here in the studio by myself for many hours every day, not talking to anybody, just talking to myself or to my paintings. Being with a large group and actually communicating through music is really, really important. It's almost like a balancing act. It serves as a balance to what I do here. This kind of work was triggered by my travels, large part in Brazil, where I noticed old buildings were painted all over again and again through sometimes hundreds of years by the people who lived in them. All of this creates an aging effect, and it really gives a feeling of the history of the place or the particular wall in that case. And I was attracted to the wear and tear and aging of these surfaces, and I found unintentional art, as I call it. And it just occurred to me that this is what I want to do. I want to paint these walls. In fact, this is what attracted me to samba, because I find all of these elements in samba as well. This patterning, these layers, how the sodas sort of give the general beat. And then, you know, all the other drums come on top, and it's, in a way, it's very similar to what I do here in my painting.
I don't think there's any question that Bach towers above everybody. He's a giant, and this guy is like Mount Everest, and there's nothing around him. I mean, from a musicianship point of view, it's just the best music. You can learn more from Bach than you can from any other composer, just about how to think about music and how to. If you can do Bach, you got the tools to do any music. Period. People have to understand what Bach is. What makes his world go around to a very great extent is rhythm, and that's certainly the case with Brazilian music. Bach is always there because every time you hear Bach, you respond to it. You can't not respond to it, even if you're not conscious of it.
The weeks before the Carnaval are my favorite time to visit Brazil. This is the period of Carnival fever, where samba blossoms, and for me, it's harvest time. One man is the focus of my pilgrimage, my guru, Tata, the son of the favela and the father of modern samba. His musical philosophy has shaped much of my own, placing much importance on study and hard work, and on the unconsciousness. His experience is vast and his wisdom broad. Tata often lectures me about how much responsibility I have to spread the knowledge that I've learned in Brazil. His old world experience and wisdom with his new world vision has greatly influenced the path of the Escola in Toronto. When the fever starts at the rehearsal, you can almost cut the energy in the air with a knife. An Escola de Samba is a whole group, a team of over 3,000 members competing with other escolas. Within each school is the beating heart, the drum section, the bateria. This bateria of 300 percussionists is the heart of the Escola de Samba, whose task is to inspire the members with their steady pulse and to keep the pace high. In the days before the Carnaval, scenes like this one take place all across Brazil. It is the countdown for the anticipating moment of crossing the Avenida, the kilometer of Carnival's avenue. Thousands of the members of each escola will parade the Carnival distance, using a theme, costumes, and dance. Their quest is one mostly of honor and prestige, to be the winner of the Carnival parade. For many of the Brazilians that participate, the Carnaval will be the highlight of their year, a brief moment of epiphany.
Nós já estamos trabalhando aproximadamente uns 3 ou 4 meses. Fizemos já aproximadamente umas 410 roupas, Carnaval. Nós trabalhamos 24 horas, bem dizer 24 horas por dia, porque nós dormimos aqui, dormimos muito pouco, por sinal. Porque a coisa que eu aprendi a fazer também foi isso, né? Até agora. Tirando do exército, só isso. Se eu não servir, não sei. De repente, que eu trabalho nisso aqui já desde criança, bem dizer, né? Porque minha avó é porta-bandeira, meu pai é mestre de sala, ela é dela. É desde pequeno já que eu trabalho nisso. Eu, minha prima, minha tia. Temos nossa equipe no caso. Na família acho que só o samba mesmo. Só isso aqui mesmo. Pô, muito gratificante, né? Que pô, você vê seu trabalho, trabalhou tanto, bem dizer, metade de um ano. Pô, e ver aquela coisa tão bonita na avenida que dá, às vezes nem acredita que foi você que fez aquilo.
O instrumento musical ele tem as épocas boas de venda, que aqui no Brasil são no mês de novembro, dezembro, janeiro, por causa do Carnaval. A produção mensal chega em torno de, entre todos os instrumentos, em torno de uns 5.000 instrumentos por mês. Dá para ser nome de negócio serviço, porque o negócio fica, a gente trabalha até às 6 da tarde, o samba é depois das 10 da noite. Então dá para assimilar. Só não chegar muito tarde em casa, mas dá para assimilar as coisas assim.
Não consigo imaginar meu universo sem o samba, porque eu convivo com ele desde pequeno. Eu nasci no samba e então eu ainda não conseguia imaginar eu fora do samba, né? Não me vejo fora do samba. Tanto é que hoje eu trabalho numa fábrica de instrumento, quer dizer, querendo ou não, eu estou envolvido com o samba, né? Lubrificantes, sprays de 300 ml. Uma de laca alumínio para rodas. 3 lubrificantes spray. E amanhã ou depois eu vou estar envolvido com o samba, porque hoje eu tenho um filho pequeno. Ele já demonstra que ele gosta muito do samba, não só do samba, ele gosta da música, né? Então, quer dizer, indiretamente, mesmo eu tendo parado, eu vou estar participando das coisas que ele vai estar fazendo, né? Então não tem muito como se desligar disso. É minha vida, é minha paixão.
Cottage is a weekend thing, and samba is a weekend thing. So obviously there's a conflict, and when we bought the cottage, in fact for the first year I stopped coming to samba practices because of that, and I feel bad. I missed it, but I didn't know how to reconcile the two.
I'm just the lowly wife of one of the tambourine players who's very fanatic about the bateria.
I can't! Yes, yes, it's your husband! Come on, you can do it, push right in your butt. Come on, right there, your basket.
And I'm often there at their shows, but yeah, I definitely don't have as much fun as they do playing in it.
The whole idea of having a house in the country, for me, is sharing it with other people. It could get quite lonely there for the three of us. Since I laid my eyes on that dock, I had this vision of Scuola di Samba of Toronto playing a wild samba and changing Wolf Island forever. After I came to Canada, it took years until somebody invited us to the cottage. When we bought our cottage, I decided that it will be an open place, that I would invite a lot of people.
I had been working the night before, I was very tired. And they were all around the house, and when I drove in, they all looked at me like, what are you doing here and who are you? And I had to tell them, well, actually, this is my place. Basically, I couldn't get into the kitchen. Like, I had all the pots that I own here full of feijoada and hot pots and slow cookers and pots outside and on the barbecue. It was a real feijoada machine.
This is the most popular food in Brazil. It's feijoada. It's made with beans and all pork stuff. Foot, ear, tail. What else? It's a kind of gross, but it's delicious.
Of course, Brazilians eat a lot of meat. In fact, they had a barbecue going here all day long. All day long they were making meat. I was very tired and I wanted to sleep, but these Brazilians wanted to play music, and they were playing their loud music. It was finally at midnight. I said to Idon, I said, tell them that's enough now, they have to stop. And he said, no, I don't want to stop the party.
I came from Israel, a country where the people are very warm and spontaneous and direct in their approach to life and to each other. And I found out that in Brazil, people are very similar. And that attracted me tremendously to their culture, music, and other things. That's part of the reason I love the group so much. has this warmth and energy and spontaneity that is sometimes lacking in Canada, being a cold country.
When I traveled to Brazil, I found that a lot of the times I met a lot of people who didn't have a lot of money, but they seemed to be very happy with what they did have. But the main difference I found is how friendly the people were. They were really accepting. Perfect strangers would be inviting me into their home, and you don't find that here in Toronto.
In Brazil, the mostly of musicians, they don't read. And sometimes they don't have a good technique. But
they don't read music, right?
Yeah, they don't read music. But they are great, they improvise a lot.
Yeah.
They have more feelings, they play with their feelings.
The music is celebratory in nature, almost all of it. It's quite often it's an expression of national pride that's very heartwarming. It's not a sort of arrogant expression of national pride that we often associate with American culture. But it's just a real happiness about who they are, and a happiness about samba, and a happiness about Carnaval, and a happiness about cachaça, and they're just really happy about who they are and what they do.
Brazilian people, they're singing all these tunes. They know all the words. I'm just sitting there playing. I go, wow, where did you learn all that, right? I asked Gabi, my friend, I said, how come you guys know all these tunes? He says, oh, we only know the good ones, right? What do you mean you only know the good ones? Right? I still don't understand that. It's a mystery I've never really penetrated, because how can they learn like 500 tunes? I mean, just like the words and know all, and do all dance, and they're all sitting there. They all know the dance steps. Where do they learn all that stuff? It's the mystery for someone like me. Cool. 1, 2, 3, go. Taka, 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 Dini. Taka. Ready to start the exercise? Exercise number 5. We're going to leave now. Wait. One of the things I ask students to do is write down tunes that they know. I'm trying to get this thing, like what music do I actually share with somebody who comes in for lessons? You know what it is? Like Christmas carols, maybe, the Flintstones commercial, I mean, this, the shared musical culture that you can sort of count on an average North American or an average Canadian or Torontonian, whatever you want to call it, knowing is actually pretty small. How you doing? My sense is that one of the reasons the actual musical culture in a country like Canada is so impoverished is because we have too much convenience. You know, if I want a piece of music in my life, all I got to do is throw it on the CD player. And people who don't have that means traditionally have just made their own stuff. They make their own music. And so there's a much greater sense of ownership and creativity there. We tend to be passive in our relationship to those things. We've just got an audience. Your job as a consumer is to consume. And if you haven't got the wherewithal to consume, then you fall back on something which is much more human, which is to make the stuff yourself. You know, you want music, you got a party, people come over to your party, they sing. You know, they do music, that's all. And you know, whenever I get a chance to see that, it's just a trip.
There's so much subtlety in these rhythms, and just to go ka 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 ka, there's no feeling there. But if you go I probably did it wrong there. Then you get an idea of, oh, now it's singing, now it's moving, you know.
Samba has shown us the reward of humanism within music and its function within society. Our responsibility as players to be ambassadors of positive energy and goodwill, I've learned through another culture. I hope that here in Toronto, here in a Canadian culture that is still in its infancy, we can spread the word of samba. Toronto is the land of the new sambista.
Lá onde? Toronto? É, acho que existe mesmo. Eu acho que os caras são bons lá, né? Devem tocar tudo. Tocam, exatamente. Eu acho que não.
Vamos ser bem político, bem diplomático, uma hora.
Samba,
Não.
mas
Samba é brasileiro, é raiz, é aqui. Não, para, sem diplomacia.
Não tem. Samba é nosso e acabou.
Acabou
e é fim de papo. Não tem.
Futebol e mulata é Brasil.
Brasil.
Só ver uma coisinha só.
Aí, tá vendo? Não faz.
Agora eu quero ver americano fazer isso, ou mais ou menos, mas com amor mesmo, né?
O poeta
Não tem jeito.
já dizia, samba não se aprende no colégio, certo? Não adianta, ou o cara sabe ou o cara não sabe. Não adianta ser aqui, na China, no Japão, aonde for.
We haven't been raised with that kind of music in our culture and in our blood, and they've had that kind of music all the time. If you're looking at playing, you know, Gordon Lightfoot or Sarah McLachlan or some kind of essentially Canadian music, the Canadians will probably play it with more feel than the Brazilians will. The Brazilians will play it with technique. You know, it takes a long time, if ever, for it to kind of get into your blood the way it does with people who lived with that kind of music their entire lives.
Samba realmente é uma coisa que emociona, né? Que mexe, é sensual também, ele é tudo. Então eu fico muito feliz e surpresa também, porque é tão difícil tocar o samba, né? Como é que os estrangeiros se encantam de tal maneira a ponto de tocar e tocar bem.
E às vezes eu fico até preocupado, viu? Porque eles vêm aqui num dia, Aí você passa alguma coisa para eles, daqui a pouco eles estão fazendo melhor que a gente. Então a gente tem que tomar cuidado, viu? Porque o negócio está ficando sério, viu?
Agora eu vou ouvir aqui o samba, a Escola de Samba de Toronto.
Chora, não vou ligar, chegou a hora, vais me pagar. Pode chorar, mas chora, chora, não vou ligar, essa aqui não, chegou a hora, vais me pagar. Pode chorar, pode chorar.
Pô, achei maneira, pô. Eu acho que ela gosta de cantar, sempre cantou aqui, eu acho maneira. Ela tem futuro, tem futuro.
Olha, eu escolhi o Canadá, primeiro porque estava insatisfeita com algumas coisas do meu país, principalmente a parte econômica, porque também tinha ouvido falar que o Canadá, né, é um país ótimo para se viver.
Vou botar mais alto, né?
Pô, eu sinto maior saudade dela, pô. Maior tempão já que eu não vejo ela. Ela, pô, tá lá, não sei o quê, mas, pô, eu entendo tudo. Ela tá lá por mim, pelo Bruno, e, pô, eu acho que ela faz o certo, entendeu? Tá lutando pelo que ela quer, é isso aí. Eu acho que a gente tem que segurar essa saudade mesmo, que ela tá fazendo a coisa que é pro bem dela e pro meu bem e pro meu irmão.
Something changes, and that happens all the time in life. So I think people look for things that help them to overcome that. Especially things that people do in a group are just a way that a lot of people overcome difficulties is you get together with other people. The social part of a lot of that kind of music just helps people to get through things.
It's beautiful.
Escola de Samba, they're one of the nicest groups of people I've ever met in my life. They're like a family, they're like a second family.
My son, I think he's very embarrassed to think that his mother, at this age, his mother is out doing something frivolous like this. I think in some ways he thinks it's cool, but he would never say that to me.
Samba makes me let off steam. It's therapeutic. If I've had a rough week or a rough day, I can take it out on the drums, so it's a great outlet.
We are Samba. There was life before Samba, and there was life after Samba. And life after Samba is just way better.
All my memories.